What's going on, guys and girls? Josh Shamley here. Thank you all so much once again for tuning in. And ladies and gentlemen, Fran, all the way from Spain, is on the line as well. Fran, how are you today, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great.
Good to see you, man. Today's video is going to be a very interesting one. It's something we haven't discussed as much as I would have liked. And I feel like with all the recent news, especially surrounding one of its major stars, I feel like today was a good day to discuss a certain movie that caused a very divisive response. And that movie is Suicide Squad. Fran, before we proceed, I have to ask, did you see the movie Suicide Squad on opening day?
No, I couldn't because I was at the beach, and at the beach there were no cinemas, so I had to wait like 5 days to see it. I was like biting my fingers, my fingernails. I was all the time like, I wanna come back, I wanna come back, I wanna come back to see it, you know. But no, I saw it like next week to opening weekend, something like that.
Okay, okay. Well, Fran, let's proceed. And the first question, I'm gonna go ahead and get this one out of the way. In your opinion, is Suicide Squad a bad movie?
It is not bad, but it's the typical summer blockbuster action-packed movie. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing to it. It's just the typical film that you go with your friends to the cinema and you're like, what are we gonna see? And you say this one, but not because it's really good. It's like okay, it looks cool. Looks like action. There's superheroes, so let's watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I well, you have to talk also about the all the reshots and all that stuff that they did to the movie. I think that they
Right.
took mm, the major part of the plot and they changed that for simple action and simple plot. But in general, I don't think it's a bad movie, and I don't think it's like what did they say? It was in Rotten Tomatoes a 3 or something like that.
It got like a 20, like a 20. It's in the 20s. It's in the 20s. I know that much.
I mean, it's not good, but Thor: The Dark World 6.7. Ant-Man and the Wasp 9.1. Are you
Oh my
kidding me? Like
God,
Ant-Man,
bro.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is better than the Dark Knight? Are you kidding? Better than Interstellar? I went to see that movie the other day and I got out of the theater and it was like, uh, this was like the most simple superhero movie I've ever seen. It was all linear. It didn't spark any feelings in me. So, it was like, okay, great movie. But
Yeah,
9.1, you kidding?
yeah. And the funny thing is, everybody that said pretty much what you said or said that I just don't see the hype. Like I'm reading this thread, and everybody that says even the slightest thing against Ant-Man and the Wasp, they're getting majorly, massively downvoted. It's like the MCU commanders, the MCU warriors are just taking over the internet. But yeah, that's an interesting perspective, friend. I'm glad you brought up those reshoots because I feel like a lot of people also tend to overlook that Suicide Squad had a lot of reshoots, and it was rumored first and foremost that David Ayer only had 6 weeks to write the script, and they supposedly quote unquote just went. And 6 weeks to write a movie introducing characters like Joker, Harley, Deadshot, Killer Croc, that's clearly obviously not enough time. And then, going back to the reshoots, we don't know what all is reshot, but from what I understand, and it was basically the change of tone. And two, if you look at the Comic-Con trailer and then the trailer that came out the following year, you could tell that there was a lot of changes made. Uh Fran, brother, this next question is kind of in correlation to the first one, but it goes, what do you feel was Suicide Squad's biggest mistake as a movie?
The Joker.
Exit. Thank you. Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
when I was going to see the the movie, I was like, when I saw BBS, I don't know, in the cinema, I was like, when I saw it in like, I didn't want to see. I mean, I was not really expecting it, and I went to see it, and I was like, okay. But with Suicide Squad, I was like 2 months before its release, like, oh my god, it's gonna be the new Joker. Oh my god, all the time thinking what are they gonna do with it, blah 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 blah. And I went to the cinema, and I was like, oh shit, it's the moment, it's the moment. And I go and there's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, and the movie's over, and I was like, what? Like
Yeah.
the Joker is like 1/3 of all the movie trailers, and he's in the movie for 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
everyone was like, Jared Leto, he did a terrible job, and I think that maybe I think he's not as good as Heath Ledger's Joker, but I sincerely think that if they gave him more screen time, he will be an amazing Joker. I mean, you only have to see like the amazing actor he is. All the roles he's done, he's like a master in every movie he has worked on.
Yeah.
They just butchered the film because Jared Leto said in an interview that they shot enough footage to make a solo Joker movie, like 1.5 hours or something like that, and we saw like 12 minutes. That's the biggest mistake. Everyone was going to see the movie because of the Joker, and you cut off the Joker. It's like, what?
Yeah. Like the joke, like the song goes, the joke was indeed on us. And yeah, Fran, that's exactly how I feel. The Joker, to me, that was the biggest disappointment of the movie itself. They underused him. They basically wasted Jared Leto's talent, and just did not give him enough screen time at all. And if I were in his position, I'd be majorly pissed. Although by now we all know about the rumored Joker solo, not the one with Joaquin Phoenix, but the one with Jared Leto's Joker. And there's also potential for Jared Leto's Joker to appear in Batman, hopefully, because Matt Reeves, Ben Affleck, Batman, come on, who doesn't want to see that? Fran, brother, the next question is, what character did you enjoy most in Suicide Squad?
I mean, if you can say one character outside of the Suicide Squad, Batman. Like Batman in this movie was like 100% comic accurate. Like it was amazing. The scenes that he was on, like in the roof of the Bugatti versus Joker, and he jumping in the water. That was like art,
Yeah.
David Ayer used Batman with a lot of more respect than Joss Whedon did, and that's shameful. But yeah, outside the crew, I think that Batman was amazing. Like the whole dark theme that he had, and the Batmobile chase and all that stuff was amazing. And from the squad, I don't know, man. I think that maybe Harley Quinn, because it was the one that stand out. It was like the one where when she was in screen, you knew that she was in screen. She wasn't a plain character. He had her ups and her downs, but overall he had a great performance.
Right. I'm gonna Harley obviously was great. She didn't really have ass, but that's a different topic for a different video. Deadshot, I think Will Smith's character was obviously great, despite the people online saying it was basically Will Smith playing Will Smith. Let's also put that thing to rest, because let's face it, Will Smith not only was Joker a major draw for Suicide Squad as a movie, but Will Smith and Margot Robbie were also major draws for the movie. And one character I feel doesn't get mentioned brought up enough with Suicide Squad is Amanda Waller. I really liked Viola Davis in this. Fran, this question is gonna cause butt hurt, and I love to cause butt hurt, but we're gonna get into it anyway. Why do you think Suicide Squad was a success despite the mostly negative response?
Economically and socially, I think so. Like the Halloween of that year, every girl was dressed as Harley Quinn. I mean, it wasn't like, oh, it's the movie of the century, but socially everyone like accepted. It was like
Mhm.
everyone saw it. I don't know how, but everyone saw it and everyone was talking about it. And
Yeah.
a movie like that with the the reshots it had and cutting that much of the Joker, making
Mhm.
750 million without China, that China
Mhm.
usually gives you like 60, 70 million more. I think it
Yeah.
was pretty successful.
Oh yeah. And just imagine if it had been in China. And I was watching a video about I might link it in the description, I don't know. This guy was explaining that the movie was a success with minorities, and he pointed out the diversity of the cast itself. And being I'm a black man myself, I'm one of the people that saw the movie, and regardless of my problems with the third act, Enchantress, and them underusing Joker, I did enjoy the movie, but I do recognize that it's flawed. Moving on, and this kind of correlates with question 3. This is a yes or no question, Fran, so you can simply say yes or no and we'll move on. And it goes yes or no. Harley, Deadshot, Whaler, Amanda Waller, and El Diablo and Boomerang were the best characters of the film.
I think that someone's missing there.
Who's that?
The like I don't know his name. Fuck. He was like the military man that was with them,
Oh, Rick
like
Flag. Rick
the
Flag.
yeah the Enchanter's boyfriend.
Yeah, Rick Flag.
Yeah, I think he was really underrated. And like in the whole movie, he gave an amazing performance for what they gave him. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, yes. But adding that character.
Okay. Yeah, let me ask you, Fran. This isn't part of the question, but let me ask you, how do you feel about Enchantress in the movie?
I think that that's a really poor choice for a villain. Like,
Uh-huh.
if you think about it, you're like, okay, you have a guy with a gun, you have a guy who throws boomerangs, you have a girl who hits people with a bat, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a girl with some swords, and a guy who has flames coming out of his hands.
Mm-hmm.
That combination is for a grounded villain, like the Joker, for
Mm-hmm.
example, or someone like not magical powers. I mean, if in the Enchantress wanted, she could kill like Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn in like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand how someone could say, yeah, this girl with a bat with no superpowers can match up with a girl who knows dark magic and take over the world. I think
Right.
with if they had like the Joker as the villain, it would be like 100% better movie because there will be like moral questions with Harley of I don't know if I want to stay with my new friends or come back with the Joker and then choose if she betrays him or not. And
Mm-hmm.
the enemies wouldn't be like magical things that are super powered. There will be like normal gang members and things like that. I think that it's a
Right.
really poor choice for a villain.
Yeah. And I've never, Cara Delevingne, she's a attractive Brit, but I've never been really big on her as an actress. And like I pointed out in a thread that I won't bring up, I feel like the whole thing with her being in a relationship with Rick Flag, it just looked really awkward. And Tom Hardy, I don't know if you know this or not, but Tom Hardy was initially going to play Rick Flag. And I always like to point out how even more awkward that would have looked if Tom Hardy was kissing Cara Delevingne and them having a relationship. Anyway, moving on. Um, Fran, do you feel that the music played throughout the film was a negative for the movie itself?
I think that the songs used were really good, but they
Mm-hmm.
didn't fit a movie. Like it was like a massive video clip. Like
Mm-hmm.
if you listen to the songs alone, they are pretty good. Like most of them are really good. But in a
Mm-hmm.
movie, if you use like one of those songs in the movie, that's okay. But it looked like the movie had no soundtrack. It was just songs. I mean, you don't have like that BBS soundtrack, that Man of Steel soundtrack. You just have songs playing all the time. And I
Right.
think that's a really poor choice. Another one
Right.
to add to the list.
Right. I can agree. I'm a hip hop man myself, and like you said, the songs by themselves sound good, but in the movie, I can kind of see how they would be a distraction. Fran, before we go on to the next question, I want you to picture this scenario: Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Joker, Gotham City Sirens, Birds of Prey, again, Deadshot. Now, Fran, I'm sure you've been paying close attention to the news and all the rumors saying that we're gonna get basically a trillion spinoffs revolving around the Suicide Squad characters. And I have to ask you, how do you feel about the spinoffs centered around the Suicide Squad characters?
I think that the only spin-off that will work is the one that they are making right now, like the Birds of Prey.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the rest of the characters, if it's not Deadshot, I don't know if they're gonna make a movie of him. But
Mm-hmm.
Harley Quinn was like such a social impact that any movie
Mm-hmm.
that she's in, it's gonna be successful. So I
Yeah.
think that a Birds of Prey movie, it's really good, but I've seen in Twitter recently that they are maybe not adding a Batgirl to the movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and how are you making a Birds of Prey movie if you don't have Batgirl? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
we're making a Justice League with no Wonder Woman. It's like what? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, in general, I mean, I feel great because they are saying that they are gonna be R-rated, low-budget movies, and that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think that the only ones that will work, it will be the ones that have Harley Quinn in them.
Oh yeah, for sure. And Suicide Squad boosted her popularity. Again, guys and girls will go see it because it's Margot Robbie, and you've got a success. Fran, this kind of ties into the next question, and I'm sure you're aware that the guy that directed the movie with Ben Affleck, The Accountant, is going to be writing and directing the sequel. And this question is, Fran, are you at all excited for Suicide Squad 2?
The thing is that I don't even know if they're gonna make that movie. Like
Really?
months ago they said like, yeah, in fall of 2018, they're gonna start principal photography or production or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
now they are saying that in early 2019 they're gonna start production on the Birds of Prey movie. So you
Mm-hmm.
finish the Birds of Prey movie, and maybe in 2020 you start production on Suicide Squad 2. And having projects like The Flash, The Batman, Man of Steel 2, well, hopefully Man of Steel 2, and all
Right.
those movies, I don't know where they can release that. Like they said that Warner Brothers was like deciding between Suicide Squad and Birds of Prey, and I think that they have decided Birds of Prey. So I think Suicide Squad 2 is gonna come out like in 3-4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
They've taken other priorities.
Mm-hmm. Fran, now I really like this question. Uh, do you like the idea of the character Deathstroke being added in the sequel?
As a villain or as a companion?
Either or.
Mm. I would prefer to see him first in the Batman movie. Like, I need that fight between Ben Affleck and Joe Manganiello.
Oh yeah,
Like, I need
bro, I
that.
know.
Like, two titans fighting, like, in the Arkham Origins movie. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if we see him first there, then I have no problem seeing him in Suicide Squad. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that should have been, like, the first movie villain. Like, a more
Mm-hmm.
grounded thingy that, you create a plot around it and why are they fighting, all that stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like more realistic to have a guy who throws boomerangs and a girl with a bat fight a guy who has swords, instead of magic powers. So I will be like happy if that happened, but I want to see him first in the Batman movie.
I hear you. I guess for me, if he is in the movie, I'd rather see him as a member of the squad and uh as opposed to him being on the opposing side. Uh Fran, this is the final question, but I may have two extra. What do you feel is the main thing that Suicide Squad got right?
The marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and you may say why. For example, Justice League's marketing was really bad, like with
Mm-hmm.
Noir in Superman, but in the Suicide Squad marketing, it was presented like what it was, like the typical blockbuster action movie with all the colors, pretty amazing soundtrack songs, and you know that feeling of being like a gang movie and all that stuff. And I think that was the best thing that they did, because in the movie it's like a pretty generic movie, but the marketing, I think that it's the thing that stands out in the whole process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And going to that, this is another question. I'm gonna give my perspective. I feel like the PG-13 rating benefited the movie as well. And Fran, brother, let me ask you this: do you feel like watching the movie, and I'm sure you saw the difference in the Comic-Con trailer in contrast to the trailer that came out the following January? Do you feel like David Ayer probably intended for Suicide Squad to be leaning towards an R rating?
Yeah, I think so. Like they said that the most of the scenes with the Joker were really fucked up. Like they were really evil. You know, I think that David Ayer was aiming for an A-rated to make like a more serious film, but the studio was like, no, we want money, so we're gonna make it like a PG-13, so typical teenagers are gonna go to watch it in the movies.
Yep.
I think that he was aiming for it, but you know, again, studio interference fucked the movie up. They didn't learn for the future.
Nope. I agree. I definitely agree. Um, and I think another thing that I hear tossed around so often, Fran, and I'm gonna allow you to give your perspective. One common thing that even once the movie released, I heard tossed around is, oh, this movie just is a blatant copy of Guardians of the Galaxy, or look at the DCEU, they're copying the MCU. Yay. Calling David Ayer a son of a bitch, or it's just weird stuff like that. Fran, all those wild and weird comments aside, do you how do you feel about the comment of Suicide Squad copying Guardians of the Galaxy? Because I'm sure you also heard the complaint of Wonder Woman copying Captain America: The First Avenger.
I think that Wonder Woman and Captain America are more similar than Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
thank you.
Because they have like two teams, like because the characters form a team doesn't mean that they are the same movie. Like because the Justice League is a team up movie and Avengers is a team up movie doesn't mean that they are copying each other.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's like saying that, oh, this movie is a thriller movie and that one is a thriller movie too. Oh, they are copying each other. It's like, no. Because they have some similarities doesn't mean that they are copying the whole plot.
Right.
And, you know, I could understand that they said, like, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is closer to Suicide Squad because of the magic and all that stuff, but I don't know. People say a lot of stupid things, and because of those people, we had some movies like Justice League fucked up. Like, oh, it is not enough fun. It has to be more like Marvel. And when it is like Marvel, it's like, oh, it is a disaster. Why did they make it like Marvel? They have to have their own style, and you're like, okay, whatever.
Fran, I'm glad you divulged into that. We try to keep the Justice League and Zack Snyder talk for those respective videos, but I can't help but also ask you this because I saw there was a poll on a site that I'm a part of, and it asked the question of, do you feel like critics are trying to sabotage the DCEU films? And there's been actually a few videos saying that, oh well, if the DCU just made good movies, oh well, if the movies made money. And I sit there and I'm listening, I'm taking all this in. I'm like, well, number one, the movies make money. Aside from Justice League, the movies make money. Number two, a lot of people are saying the movies are good. It's typically just the MCU fans or the so-called quote unquote critics and bloggers saying that the DCU is failing or the DCU needs to reboot. Fran, I promise you this is the last question. Do you feel like the DCU is being sabotaged by critics?
Yes, and I don't understand why. Like, what's the purpose?
I don't
there's
know, man.
only one explanation, and that's like Disney is paying bloggers, but I don't think that's the case.
Mhm.
But it's like, why? Like, why are you going so hard in movies like BBS or Man of Steel or Suicide Squad, and then
Yeah.
movies as plain as Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor: The Dark World, Thor: Ragnarok? I mean, they are good movies, but so are the DCU movies. Like, you can't give Ant-Man and the Wasp a 91% and then tell me that BBS is at 2.9.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Maybe for you, for the general public, a BBS is like a 7 and Ant-Man and the Wasp is an 8. I would like, okay, maybe, but every movie that comes out of the DCU, it's like 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, 8 from Wonder Woman. And they gave it
Yeah.
like an 84%, and I think that Wonder Woman is 20 times better movie than Ant-Man and the Wasp, for example. Like,
Yeah.
I went to see that the cinema, and it was plain as fuck. Like, it wasn't
I
boring, but it was like, okay, another superhero movie. Okay.
Yeah, and I can't, for example, I can't bring myself to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'd much rather, for example, I'd much rather be seeing the Justice League cut that Zack Snyder made, for example. But yeah, for me, I don't know what it is, man. It just feels like there's something, and it's not just even with the critics. It just feels like there's something that they're trying to do. And maybe sabotage may actually be the correct word. And there's going to be people in my comment section saying, well, nobody's trying to sabotage the DCU movies. They just need to make good movies. But like you and I just said, you know, the critics eat up plainness and simplicity. But as soon as, something that's different, it's like, oh, it's a problem. And now, I hate to bring this up because this has nothing to do with Suicide Squad, but even with the whole Fox and Disney thing, I see a whole bunch of people, talking shit on the X-Men movies. And bro, I'm just gonna be honest. Logan is one of the best superhero movies I've seen, and I haven't seen anything much of anything from them other guys, the McDonald's cinematic universe that can compete with Logan. That's my opinion, of course. But before we get started, Fran brother, that'll be all for this video. Uh, Birds of Prey apparently is going to start shooting in January. It will apparently receive an R rating and is going to have a smaller budget. Apparently Gotham City Sirens was shelved, and also we don't know much about Suicide Squad 2 at this point. Like Fran said, it was supposed to start filming in the fall, but it got delayed, so we don't know what's gonna happen with that. And ladies and gentlemen, you all go subscribe to Fran's channel. I always appreciate him stopping by and collaborating with me on these videos. And I will provide several links to his channel in the description. And Fran brother, thanks again. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye bye.